We're quite impressed by the scores.
Okay.
I think you have to know. Already, I would say the top 10 are way beyond our expectations.
Yes.
Wow.
So I think,
Thank you.
the guys are really smart. This was not foreseen for us. So, of course, you can always grab a couple of little points by, improving your training on your data set. So I think that's what the guys are doing. They're just trying to refine and all the training based on that. Unless a guy comes with a totally radical new approach, but then it's somebody down there.
Yes.
It's not the guys there who will go up from on one step.
Yes, I agree. Because in fact now the top guys, the top teams, should, let's say, apply a lot of very smart tricks in order to improve and to close the gap. And so this is probably the only possibility that they have.
Okay.
But definitely the guys are really good.
Yes, definitely. We are really impressed.
That's good.
And we encourage also the guys who are in the top 10. We'll have a discussion with them during this ICPC contest to learn more about what they're doing, and also be happy if they want to have some internships in our company and or work with us or at least have a flavor of what we're doing, because I think their approach could make huge advances in our company.
What you're looking for in your employee who comes from ICPC competitions? What are you looking for in an employee who can come from ICPC competitions?
So what we're looking is more their analytical skills, basically. We think that the guys are very good into defining the problems, putting into place the problems. They also like competition. I think this is also very important for employees who come in our company, because we have challenges. All the problems we have are challenging. We want to disrupt the industry. We want to go forward in terms of improving the rates, in terms of improving computing power. And I think the mindset built up by ICPC is the right mindset.
So we're the real problem solvers, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Problem solvers, and also a bit of level of competition. I think it's good. Even we like teamwork, but I think also the fact that people want to fix some challenges and at least beat those challenges is the right mindset to have. So I think the guys have the right mindset here, because they went into several rankings, competitions, regional, stuff like that to arrive here. So already arriving here for them is already a big work to come here, and then now it's the last step for them, so we'll see.
Do you have an internal competitions? Is that challenge-based approach involved into the real development?
It happens.
It happens. It happens. Like what my colleague was saying, we do have sometimes within our company several teams working on the same problems, but different approaches. Same approach doesn't make sense, because it just means
they know each other's results, so they
depends.
Are they motivated by, I don't know, the trophy or an award ceremony within company, or I don't know, payment, for example?
Yeah, we have awards, we have bonuses, we have any kind of promotion which is built on that, and we have internals also deadlines. So I would say the majority of the competition is fixed by deadlines, and what is important for us is that we can have different teams working on the problem, but what counts is that the approaches are taken differently. The most important thing that I have to say also that to the people who are competing today, and this is the same thing that is happening in our company, failure is success.
Okay,
in the sense that even if you take a bad approach, if you're able to explain why, this is the hard part.
Indeed.
It doesn't work. It's also, I would say, recognized in our company. Meaning we had in the past teams who basically worked on different problems. They did not succeed, but we needed to explain why it didn't work. Why? Because, of course, it avoids many other people taking the same path. So in our company, it's saving money if we can avoid making the same mistakes. The main issue in general is, even for these guys, is to explain why it didn't work. I think this requires also some very fundamental skills to explain why you didn't get the result.
That's right. Especially in the field of machine learning.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think about the ICPC challenge in general? Do you already have in mind something special for the next year? Will it be something machine learning related? Because right now, once again, that's the first ICPC challenge in a few years that we've been having. We had Java challenge before to promote Java development and that language in general. And it's very interesting whether you think in a direction of continuing the same stuff or maybe doing something different? The question I'm asking is because now everyone knows that there are huge prizes and they can actually spend the whole year, well, no, not the whole year, but at least some time preparing for the next ICPC challenge.
So two things. I mean, you cannot know the amount of, I would say, challenges we have in the company.
Okay.
Already. So I have a list.
Good.
And you have to know that already in our company we have each year, but this is more with regard to, I would say, universities. We have something called the HRP, which is the Huawei Innovation Research Program, where we list all our problems and then open it to the universities, and then they can, of course, make some proposals to solve them, and then we make cooperation contracts. Now, for this competition, we have some ideas for the next ICPC. We still haven't talked about it yet, because you have to know that it's the same as you guys. There's a lot of organization behind.
Absolutely.
People don't see it. They just think, you come and
here is organization behind.
Yes. I'm sure the amount of time you spend on this is incredible.
Quite a while.
Proposing a problem is also a lot of time, because we need to be sure that the problem is well tailored. We need to check it on our side. We need to find a problem which is of interest for us first, solvable by the guys. So it takes a bit of time. So we haven't thought exactly on all the challenges, but if the guys are interested to just solve our problems, we can give them.
So you have a list.
We have a list.
Yes.
What would be the most ambitious problem? Like, the joke is that if you need someone to solve an unsolvable problem, give it to a freshman English student, don't tell that it's unsolvable.
Yeah.
And it will be done. What is the most ambitious problem that is not NDA that you have in mind right now? But you really have no idea how to approach or how to really solve that from your experience and perspective. Because, definitely it's good to have a fresh view, but also not inventing a bicycle every single week of your job is something that I think helps.
Yeah, so our founder has a couple of, I would say, fundamental challenges, but this I think is more long-term. As you know, the major breakthroughs which were made our companies date back to mostly like more than 70 years, around the 50s, with Turing, with von Neumann, with Shannon, and basically are the architectures that we have of computing, which is the von Neumann architecture. All the techniques that we have of transmissions, which are Shannon related, all the things which are in computer science, which are also Turing related. The big question is that can we go beyond that? So this is a huge open problem in our company. We want to go beyond that and find ways of doing new computing architectures, finding ways of transmitting beyond the Shannon rate, which are quite difficult questions. So these are, of course, more long-term, but if we can find the next, I would say, von Neumann, the next Turing, the next Shannon within the list of students there, they're all welcome to join our company.
Wow, okay. That's a really impressive goal.
Yeah.
But this very, general, fundamental, so to say. What about something really applied? Maybe, I don't know, a very smart assistant that will replace everything, or whatever it is. What do you personally want to see in the future of Huawei's research?
Okay.
Something like, easy. Like, for example, I have a huge problem. I cannot remember numbers. That's very difficult for me. So basically one PIN code for everything. Otherwise, I'm all gone. Yeah. And the worst thing is when I go to my friends to visit, I never know the number of apartments. And so every single time I have to write to that person or call and ask, is it 23 or 32? I kind of remember, but I don't. So a huge improvement in my personal life would be an opportunity to automatically store that data and just pop it up as soon as I need it without any extra effort or request. Maybe something for you?
Yeah, I mean, this is like, I would say, an application-related issue. Of course, I think it would be great. I mean, such things, of course, we have them all year long, meaning basically our camera, for example, the question, as you know, at the moment, the camera of Huawei is one of the best ranked with the P30, and I think some of the students hopefully will win that. Typically, we would like to take a picture with a zoom of roughly 100 100% to zoom towards the moon, to see things really on the moon with the photograph. This is extremely complicated. At the moment, it's mostly a 5 times increase. We would like to have like a 100 times increase. So people would like to have a super zoom with our camera. We don't know how to do that. I mean, of course, that would be a great challenge to be able to see every single spot from Earth.
Photography will just skyrocket after that. I think we'll see so much more interesting art and applications of that. Yeah. That's a great idea.
The second thing also, which I think would be good is, today, smartphones are just smart. They are not intelligent, meaning that you just tell...
Just smart. I mean, I do everything. That's like a part of my brain. Just smart.
Yeah, but what I mean is that you still tell to the phone to book me Uber at 5 o'clock, Indeed. Things like that. I think the next big step on which we are looking is phones which are mates. Basically, you talk to the phone as if it was your friend. It has emotion recognition. It tells you, you look tired. I'm going to book you something like, to go to the cinema, watch a movie, rest a bit, things. So you really have all that interaction. I think we're far from getting there. And I think if we can come up with a real phone which is intelligent, not smart, just like an assistant, but really, having this close interaction. And this requires a lot of advances in emotion recognition, for example. Just the phone sees immediately that I'm changing my voice tone, things like that. So I would be very happy to have in the next 2 or 3 years a phone which is exactly like a mate.
Well, 2 or 3 years is a very strict deadline, but apparently that's how the things go in Norway, right?
I don't know. Maybe Mewan is a little bit optimistic, but
I'm ambitious.
Yes, let's say ambitious. Yes, but I will follow up because in fact, yes, emotion, but also some kind of reasoning, some kind of, how to deduce something from something else, how to some phone which is able to learn through analogies, which is probably the best way of learning. And for now, this we don't have it.
So something education related and smart in human way.
Yes, in the human way, closer and closer to human mind. Yes.
I think going beyond what he says, going beyond learning at the moment, you just learn in one moment. You have to act.
Yes, so yes. This is very important.
Going beyond learning, a machine which goes beyond just learning, but does what he was saying, reasoning.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good challenge. I don't know how to do it, but...
but you're right, acting is very, very important also. This is also a good way for us to learn. For example, if something is very hot, how can we realize it just by touching it? Oh, it's hot! And then you know that it is hot. So
and you have a proper reaction, and you know that it's exactly, say, dangerous for you.
Yes, exactly. So acting also is very important.
It's very interesting that the machine learning approaches and artificial intelligence approaches has been applied to a number of different fields in recent years. And one of the ICPC alumni even tried to apply machine learning to solving ICPC problems. Because with all the online judges and world finals rolling year after year after year, the amount of data they collect is actually huge. And it allows you to try to read the problem statement, try to analyze it. Problem statement is fairly formalized, and even if you open a problem statement of completely unknown problem, you kind of know how it looks. It will have a name on the top, the limitations for a single submissions or its performance, then input data and its format, output data, and in most of the times, some of the examples. It's less often for machine learning problems, but still very traditional for ICPC. And they've been trying to organize and do some natural language processing over the statements and try to figure out, maybe examples in the problem statement will allow us to figure out what is actually required in the problem to possibly send us. And once again, we have hundreds and hundreds of submissions, successful and unsuccessful submissions for these problems that are public and available for everyone. Right now, they're mostly used for educational purposes. Basically, anyone who can go online can register on a contest platform and learn through example, look at what your peers do, what submissions get accepted, what got rejected, what do you have to do in order to write that code, to debug that code. Not that they actually succeeded in solving ICPC problems, but the concept is really quite ambitious once again. It is connecting all the pieces in the very complex ICPC environment. We still think that contestants are the best of the best of the best. They indeed went through several stages of selections and competitions, and on one hand it should be extremely difficult to figure out how to solve a problem. On another hand, the amount of data is just overwhelming.
Yeah.
Just as I think that some of the self-driving cars do exactly the same right now. So they learn through example, they have so much data that it actually allows them to make decisions.
Yes, that's right. But you have to know also that machines now need a huge amount of data when, for example, a kid needs maybe a low, I mean, it just needs, for example, a kid to recognize a cat needs to see 2 or 3 times a cat, and that's it. Which is not the case of a machine, which needs, I don't know how many thousands or even more pictures of cats to recognize a cat.
Well, I would still think that it's just as easy to fool a kid that something else is a cat than to fool a proper neural network that actually saw all the proper benchmarked cat vs dogs pictures. So yeah, it is indeed a very interesting challenge to solve. Let's take a look at the scoreboard just to see how that goes. We have just half an hour till the end of the contest, so results are pretty much in, or not, I don't know. East China Normal University keeps the lead, but it is significantly smaller because Princeton went up to the second place and trails East China Normal University with just about a point behind. We have University at Illinois at Urbana-Champaign at third position with 181 points. Northern Arctic Federal University did not improve in past minutes and are still at 180, together with University of Latvia and University of Warsaw.
Wow.
In the group of 100, 20th place is now cut out at about 170 points, which is a great result. At the very beginning of the contest, we sat down with Greg Hamerly, who helped to prepare the problem, and his estimation was like, okay, 170, 190 if we are lucky would be somewhere with the top results. And we can see that a number of teams actually are quite successful with that lower threshold of Greg's selection.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, impressive. I'm looking forward not only for the, I would say, score, but also the approach.
Yes.
To have a talk with the winners and discuss with them the different approaches. And I think this is what matters most for us, rather than just the numbers, is what is the out-of-the-box, I would say, approach they took to solve the problem. Yeah.
Do you think we will see at least one 100-point solution on either A or B? Like, going real, 100 points.
100,
how many tests are there? I don't know.
No,
do you know how many tests are in the closed subset? Like 100 or something?
I don't have it in mind, but I don't think so. They will get it to exactly 100. But already, if they get pretty close to this, I would say 200, it's already a magnificent score. Yeah. And I think it's also quite interesting because the results are quite binary in the sense that there are teams who are found the approach and are just like improving the score, and then there are the ones which are stuck, and then to get into the numbers, it's going to be hard for them. Let's see.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'll return back the clocks in here.
Can we see the professors? I mean,
absolutely. 174, 174, EDH Zurich and ITMO with just a tiny little difference of 4/10. And Belarusian State University of Informatics and Radio Electronics is in third place. We haven't seen him before, so apparently he was hiding all the strategies and submitting at the very last moment, which is a strategy of itself. Now, finally, the team and coaches who both performed really well, University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. Congratulations on preliminary fourth place with just 25 minutes to go. Once again, these are 170 points and up, so if we aggregate the scoreboard, they will be in top 20 or something really close to that. And we have a number of coaches joining the competition in the last hour. Now 30 of them were active and submitted at least one solution. What a not bad result for them. I think that it is very interesting to see all the different coaches getting their hands on. Because on the ICPC World Finals, coaches usually definitely get the problems at the very beginning of the contest, but they rarely solve the problems themselves during the World Finals. Not only because the competition is dedicated for teams of 3, and it would mean communicating with the other coaches and splitting into teams a little more difficult than just to start up right away with your computer. But it's also possible to solve the ICPC World Finals online. So in theory, everyone can try it themselves. And we have a few teams of ICPC alumni who really try to do that every year, and they get really good results. And it's always a call for a first place. Would they be able to participate in the World Finals?
Okay, good.
Yeah, I hope next challenge it will be a machine which will define the problem. That's even better than finding a machine which solves the problem. But maybe
which of the problems is more difficult, do you think? I mean, I'm entirely not sure. Because in Russian there is that saying that to answer the question, to ask a question, you need to know the answer.
Exactly.
So it's very difficult to prepare a problem. On the other hand, machine learning problems have a huge good point over the classical ICPC problems. If you're a problem setting a machine learning problem, well, you have to try to solve that. But then your main focus would be to find a way to actually value a solution, to properly score it from 0 to 100. You don't have to be able to get 100.
No, of course.
And it's very comforting feel that in ICPC competitions, it's kind of important that judges are, I'd say, just a little more clever than the teams themselves, so that the teams won't just come up with a asymptotically much better solution, but also so the judges can actually verify every single solution submission and understand how that works. Whereas in machine learning, the only thing that is important is you can actually value that as that submission. And then they can be just, say, twice as clever as you and get much more points, but that's still for the greater good.
Very good.
Not a lot of changes in the top now, unfortunately, but I think that most of the extra submissions will come in the very last minutes. We've been seeing that in the first hour, or maybe even 2 hours, teams did just a few solutions per problem. For example, University of Warsaw at the end of 1 hour mark was sitting just at 2 submissions for problem A. They just submit, it just works, that's it. You don't need to do anything else. But then now you can see all the number of submissions rising quite rapidly. For example, China Normal University did 27 submissions on A and 21 submission on B. Quite a number.
So they're doing reinforcement learning.
Exactly.
No, they're doing overfitting. I know how that's called. But it's also really good to see that everyone is like doing their best to fine-tune every single last point, score point, that's one. Actually, the border for the 20th place rapidly moves up. It's already 171, and I'm sure that we'll get it up to, say, 175 in coming minutes.
Very good.
Okay, but the results are very good, really.
Are the results of that competition, you think, are enough to make sure that you get an internship at Huawei?
Oh, definitely, definitely. I mean, the top.
How many points?
Yeah.
No, lower.
No, I would say the top 10 for sure. Then we have to look at what the others did, but the top 10 for sure, yeah. Because this, I told you, this goes beyond our expectation. The problem that they're solving is a true problem that is of high interest for us, meaning that we want to ship products based on the solutions they have here.
Can you give me an insight on where can this problem be actually incorporated?
Well, the whole problem of how you do training and inference on a phone is a big issue for us. At the moment, you have to know when you buy a phone, there's mostly 3 factors, which are basically the consumption, and the camera and the design, how it looks like. The next step that everybody's building on is AI. One of the big issues when you implement AI is that basically your battery just runs out rapidly.
Yeah,
so you need a
that's
phone
what happens.
which has AI and which is sustainable. And I think whatever the guys come up with low complexity AI solutions on the phone, I don't know what their approach they're taking, is a good solution for us because it will keep the phone living for a long time.
Does it have something to do at all with the digit recognition? Or is it like a general thing?
It's not digit recognition. It is the binary implementation of the neural network, which is important.
Yeah. So what they've been doing here is trying to devise or design a binary neural network, and then for the tests we just used those data. Yes. However, the data we have is much more broader, so we're looking for solutions.
So it's actually evaluation for a binary neural network rather than for the best solution on how to recognize reading digits.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Do you think that essentially any problem can be solved with binary neural networks over the classical ones? And also, I saw that the structure of the neural network is very specific.
Yeah.
For example, in this case, we have three-layer neural network that has full connections between the input and the first layer, which is fairly obvious, but then the first and the second layer are connected in a fairly specific way. Is this the universal structure of the neural network that can solve?
No, of course not.
We fixed it because exactly that was what I told you before. It takes a lot of work to define a problem which is solvable in 3 hours with the computing power they have and with all the constraints. So by working inside our company and trying to find what could be done in 3 hours with the, I would say, power available on their computer with the data, that was what we come up with. The problem is more general. Yeah. And you have to know that we as a company are very interested in that, but the whole, I would say, community working on these things is interested on a sophisticated solution for that problem.
And just to answer your previous question about, if binary neural networks can solve any problem that, let's say, the analog neural networks can solve, let's say that this kind of binary neurons probably could solve, I believe that they could solve any problem that the feed-forward analog networks can solve.
That's very interesting. What are the other models? Would it be correct to call that type of neural network model can be of interest for you?
Oh.
Can you repeat your question?
Okay. So we are now working with, we are very limited, these contestants are very limited to that particular structure of neural network.
Yes.
Are there other classical structures of neural networks?
Yes, deep networks. Deep networks can be designed by using binary neurons.
Okay.
Let's say the general approach is that I would say, to make it more general, the problem is that how you go from a continuous space to a discrete space. That's the question we're asking. Of course, doing just sampling, it doesn't work. Everybody's tried it. When you have a continuous, you just go sampling. It doesn't work. So you have to revisit how optimization techniques, gradient descent, whatever are done in continuous, how they can be done into binary steps. And I think this is a more general problem of combinatorial aspects, but it requires, I think, more interdisciplinary thought. So I think the guys who are first there, hopefully they took, I would say, such an approach.
They improved for a point and for another point, so it's 184 now, and it was 183. So they're taking all the last chances to score that. And their prize would be MateBook, right?
Sorry?
What would be the prize for the first place?
First, it's a laptop, if I remember well. Yes,
I think it's a laptop. I think there are phones and laptops.
And then, I don't remember if it is the laptops are the 3 first teams, right? If I remember well, and then
sounds
phones.
Good.
Yeah, let's then it's a P20. No, a Mate 20. I don't remember exactly all the.
So it came with one laptop, went away with 3 and 2 days. So awards will be given during the award ceremony, the closing ceremony of the World Finals, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, exactly. They're going to be given on Thursday from 6 to 7 on Thursday.
Okay.
For at least the Huawei Challenge. And then, of course, there's going to be the big ceremony for the big winners of the whole ICPC contest.
Exactly.
So, but I think this is a good warm up.
Oh
for-
yes,
for-
absolutely. In the coming days, we'll have opening ceremony tonight. I would be
Yes.
happy to see you all in here, and we'll definitely broadcast that live for everyone.
Okay.
The other things that tomorrow we'll have dress rehearsal. It will start just at the same time as the real contest the day after. We'll try to double check that everything works correctly and finally give a sneak peek on the very team area where everything will happen.
Yeah.
And on Thursday, as you correctly mentioned, we'll have the contest itself. It will run for 5 hours. Today's contest was running for 3 and will finish in 15 minutes. And then after the end of the World Finals, we'll have a short intermission with the ICPC Challenge Awards, of course, and then the closing ceremony that will reveal the winners of the 2019 ICPC World Finals. So that sounds like an exciting week of entertainment. I know that there is a huge team coming with Huawei this year for the World Finals. Is it the first year at ICPC for you and your team, or someone is the ICPC alumni as well?
Yeah, it's the first. It's the first year. We have put into place basically all the mathematicians of our labs. They are basically in Moscow and in Paris. So you had some of my colleagues from Russia with whom you had an interview. Here you have the people who are from Paris, and basically because we think that mathematics is at the heart of all these basically revolutionary ideas that we can have in this discipline. So that's why we put into place all a task force which has been working on solving those problems. On top of that, of course, we brought also our hiring managers, human resources, things like that, because we want also the students to know better our company. We are open to discussions, internships, PhDs. They can also do what we call industrial PhDs, meaning a student who has a master here could decide to do a PhD within our company with 3 years within any topic he wants. And I think discovering our company and showcasing also how our company wants to promote more and more fundamental and I would say research is why we're here. Yeah.
Wonderful. Do you like it here?
Yes.
Perfect.
It looks good. Very good.
I mean, the weather was very awful this morning, but now I'm seeing like the sun and the sunshine coming in. So I think we're going to be enjoying this evening and also the next days. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for coming. It was great having you.
Thank you.
See you and congratulations on a very successful event. As the contest is over, the final results will be announced at the intermission between the finals and the closing ceremony on Thursday, April 4th. Preliminary results are now published. Just wait until all the submissions will be judged.